Okay, so I've already finished up with the 1500 on the DA sander. Now we've got an area that's fairly smooth. It still looks like a satin finish. It's nice and straight. So I'm going to go ahead and move to the sisal wheel. And a good place if you're looking for some buffing wheels, I get mine from Caswell Plating in New York. Caswell Plating is a company that sells some really good high quality buffing materials. They'll sell all the type of rouges that you'll need. In this situation, I'll start out with this rope wheel, the sisal wheel, and I'm going to use some black cutting compound. This is fairly aggressive. And then I'm going to move to a tight spiral bound, and then I'll finish over here. So before I get started here, because it'll probably be noisy, I am going to basically, there's two methods when you polish. You can polish with the wheel, so as the wheel's spinning this way, I can go with it, and that way is going to be a little bit of a smoother finish, or I can pull against it, which is going to make more of a cutting effect. So I'm going to start with this wheel because I want to be aggressive. I'm going to actually start by cutting, and then I'm going to finish by going the other direction. So it's kind of using the wheel for two different abrasive reasons. Grits basically. So I'll go ahead and turn it on here, and I've already cleaned it with the rake here, so it's actually ready to go. I'm just going to put a little material on it, and I'm going to go ahead and start. Again, I've got gloves. I hold my material very soundly. You never want to polish this way or put a leading edge in. It'll bind it up. I've got my buffer bolted to the floor, and it's bolted in a direction that if anything does get caught, it's not going to do any damage. So I'm going to start by, again, pulling away from the direction of the wheel. So I'm polishing or cutting as aggressive as possible. So and you want to make sure to do the edges too, especially if the edges are going to be seen on the edge of the trim, depending on what type of trim it is. So if you've got gloves on, just be careful, no loose clothes or ends to get caught up in there. So, and you can see it's kind of got a satin finish to it now. Now if I do a finish cut, it'll even get a little bit better. So this is a good time to kind of look at it and see what kind of marks, and it looks pretty good in there. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this off, and I'm going to have to switch wheels because I've only got one buffer here. So bear with me for a second here. I normally unplug my buffer and do it all right, but I want to get this changed out real quick. And I'm going to the tight spiral bound, and this wheel's pretty dirty, so I'll clean it up with the rake. But anytime you're changing wheels, definitely unplug the machine so it doesn't get turned on. This wheel's fairly dirty, so I'm going to go ahead and clean it up with the rake here. And what I'm doing is just, you can see, it's getting into some new material. And I'm going to go ahead and reload it up with some fresh rouge, some black rouge there. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to actually pull as I cut this direction again. So I'm doing a cut movement, only polishing this direction. And I've kind of got two sides of a piece of trim here, so I'm doing both sides. Again, I don't want to forget to do the edges here. Never ever again put the trim in this way. When you do have to do corners in this situation, just do the inside and then flip around and then do the outside. So I'm basically polishing like two halves, but this is not a polishing video. So again, cutting stroke, and it's pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is go into a finishing stroke. I just finish every wheel like this. This way I get the cleanest finish possible, so it's like doubling up the effect of the wheel. And you can see I've got a pretty good, I mean, this is this is probably like a mirror already. But now I'm going to go ahead and go to the finish here is the loose wheel, and I'm going to use the green compound. This green compound is just for stainless. So I'll go ahead, and I've already cleaned this wheel up. I'm just going to go ahead and load it up with some compound. And in this movement, I do not cut at all. It's strictly a finish movement. So the wheel is spinning this way, I'm only going to go this way. Also remember, if your outside edge is shown, you want to go ahead and polish that and that. So now you can kind of see that's basically a mirror finish on stainless that started out looking like this. So hopefully that's showing up there. And you can pretty much take any piece of stainless, bump it out, sand it out, file it out, and do everything necessary to save it. Appreciate watching the video.